welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me today is Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. It is Tuesday. We're talking Below Deck Down Under, later. But first, just a gentle reminder that we are going on the road this weekend. We are going to Cincinnati on Friday, where we're going to recap Summer House. And then we're going to go to Minneapolis, where we'll recap Southern Charm. And then we'll go to Toronto, crossing into Canada, where we shall recap a classic Real Housewives of New York, the one where they go to the Berkshires, the really famous Berkshires one, aka December, Berkshires County. So go check out all those shows, by the way. But come join us. Go to watchwhatcrappens.com to get your tickets. And you can also join us on Patreon, patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens. Remember to sign up through your browser, not through the Patreon app, because Apple charges a surcharge for you. So on Patreon, we have our bonus episodes. We just did the whole season of The Traitors. And then you also have access to Crappens on Demand, where you can watch us on your screen instead of just listening to us. And those videos, by the way, are available on YouTube a week later for the public. But if you want to get them while they're fresh and while they're still top of mind, then go to Patreon. So that is all the news I have today for everyone. Ronnie, is there anything you want to add to that?
No. You did great.
Thanks.
You did great. You're doing great, Collie.
Doing great, Collie. So now it's time for Below Deck Down Under. Previously, a lady named India tumbled off of her jet ski, and today we report she's no longer with us. No,
Yeah,
she's fine.
she died.
She's fine. She's fine. She got her knee on some coral, which is unfortunate. But we saw like a very prolonged sequence of bubbles and flopping around in the ocean because that GoPro was going around in circles. So, they made it seem like something really terrible had happened to her, but she's fine. She's fine.
She was fine. But yeah, they did. They were like, boom, 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 boom. You'd only see splashing. But then every time the camera went underwater, they were in like 2 feet of water. I was like, okay.
I know. That was the other thing.
We need some drama on this show. But come on, now it's 2 feet. Still, though, if you're scared of water, if you're scared of water, don't get on a jet ski, obvi. But, you're on a boat. I get it. She was scared. The real villain here is Vion. But, I don't hate Vion still. I feel like the show's telling me, they're giving me all of the signs that I should hate Vion, but I don't. Why?
Yeah. I'm just in a state of dislike with him. I think that was the same thing I said last week. I don't hate him, but I am disliking him. Yeah.
Do you think he has beefcake's privilege? I think that I like him because he's a go-go boy in a gay bar. And I don't know. I feel motherly towards those boys. I don't think I've ever gotten a boner from a stripper. Even when I was younger, I was always like, oh, here's a number for, I don't know, community call. Like I want to help them. I'm like, do you need it's cold out here. You want my jacket?
Yeah. Well,
have you eaten anything other than a protein shake today? Come here, have some of these French fries.
So Johnny is like, India, I'll hold you. Do you feel safe now? I'll hold you. And I was like, whoo, Johnny. Johnny, I feel like every episode, I think Johnny's getting more and more attractive. Although by the end of this episode, I was like, wah, 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 and he went back down to being Johnny again. But like he was on a great streak for me of getting hotter and hotter until he got drunk. But so when he was like, do you want, I'll hold you. Do you feel safe now? I was like, am I getting the vapors from Johnny and this ocean right now?
No, you want me to feel safe? Hold my groceries, okay? Don't hold me. Hold my car battery as you change it. You know what I mean? Do something.
And this is when we see them standing they're literally standing in the water. It's like up to their hips.
It's like, you'll be okay in this 2 feet of water. Let me hold you. And he's like, grab the handle. I'm push you up slowly. She's like, oh my God, I'm bleeding. I'm dying. I've been cut by a coral. Well, think about how the coral feels. It's like, how much of these fucking people already put me through? And now I have somebody kicking me. Jesus, why don't you just piss on me while you're here?
Maybe it was just Coral from the real world who just had like a little knife down there. She's like, remember me?
Why aren't I ever called for the challenge?
That would be actually my concern, would be cutting myself on coral, because I know you could get, what's it called? Coral burn or coral rash or something like that, where when you cut yourself on coral and it like gets infected and it burns intensely. And I remember my friend told me that before I first went not scuba diving, snorkeling. And I was deathly afraid of nicking my leg or anything on coral. So I wasn't afraid of sharks. I was afraid of coral the entire time. And I was very, very, I was very concerned.
Well, you should be, because you nick it on coral, and then guess what sharks like? Blood. Then they smell it in the water, then they come eat you. It's like how strippers smell French fries on me. They come all around.
It's like strippers who want a nice warm coat, and they're like, Ronnie will give me a coat.
Yeah. So Johnny's like, this is fucking disaster. Everyone is safe. But obviously, jet skis have been leaking. We should definitely check it before giving it to guests. Yeah. And he's like, the deck team fucked up. Yeah, Vian fucked that one up big time.
Yeah, he did. So
I'm only giving him $5.
India, yeah. He's not going to get a large round of tips. So India is basically asking if Vian is going to go back and get Johnny, who has been left in the ocean. Imagine if he's like, no, we're just going to leave him there. That's it. He's been fired, and he's going to have to find his own way home. Of course, they're going to go back and get Johnny.
Left out in the middle of the ocean, isn't he? God,
that's kind of his vibe. So then, of course, Vian tells what's his face? Captain Jason's like right there. So Vian's like, oh, Johnny capsized, which is kind of like, you could also say, he really threw Johnny under the bus pretty swiftly on that one.
Yeah, he threw him under the wave runner, and he continues to try to through this whole time, which is really funny. And I love that Jason doesn't buy it. He's like, you think you're the first go-go boy to work on this boat?
Seriously.
Squat right now. It's like giving him the full prison exam. So he's like, all right, just go get him. So they send him, and Harry just kind of looks over. He looks over and beyond, and he's like, well, the jet ski's overturned. Not good. Not good.
So,
and then Adair's like, oh, you didn't do bad at all. Just a little scrape. Yeah. I don't even think you'll need a Band-Aid or anything. Which, you know what? Someone who's been injured does not want to hear that. I want to hear like, oh my God, you came through this. Your leg is almost falling off. We're going to save you. Is there anybody you want to call? Do you have FaceTime? Let's get your mother on the phone. It's all going to be okay. Boop, 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 boop. Come back to us. Come back. I don't want to hear like, this is nothing. Why are you crying?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, somehow you making all those noises set my Siri off. I don't know how or why, but like my phone just started glowing and was like,
imagine how mine feels.
Could I help with a Band-Aid?
I'm the first Siri who's ever called the police for herself. She was like, please get me out of this house.
It is really cute how they are, how they treat India going forward, because, I mean, realistically speaking, she went out on a jet ski, she fell into the ocean, she got like a small cut, she came back, like, overall, it was scary for a moment, but no big deal. But then they spend the rest of the episode being like, oh, we've got to save this charter. We've got to really put all the stops at dinner tonight. We got to make sure everything's okay. And I was like, that's how I want to be treated next time I get a very minor injury. If I have a hangnail, I want everyone on the boat to be like, he's got a hangnail. We've got to step it up, everyone, to make sure this charter does not go into the shitter because he's got a hangnail.
Yeah, I want them to make a big deal out of it, not just be like, you're okay. Adair, you suck at this. So then back to Vian drama. He's like, I think it's the jet ski. I think there's a leak in it. Yeah, we know. They told you multiple times. And Johnny's like, definitely leak. And he's like, well, can we just connect it to this and tow it in then? And he's like, we can try. And he's like, quick, a big wave is coming. You're in 2 feet of water. Calm down. You drag it back. Mess her upper.
So Jason is like all concerned. He just wants to make sure India's okay. And she's like, yeah, I was a little scared, but Johnny was in control. And he's like, okay, good to hear. So then Adair's talking to Harry and she's like, well, you know what? Remember when we tried to lift it and I was like, maybe it's full of water, and it was? That sounds harsh, but it really was. Like, you know what? Like, 'cause I already knew it was leaking. And Harry's like, all right, well, that's lovely. So the jet ski comes back. They bring the jet ski back, and the jet ski's kind of like, help, And it's like essentially it's about to drown into the ocean. It's like doing Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic at the end.
Yeah.
It's like it's about to let go of the raft.
It's like, save yourself, you're richer than me.
So the whole thing is that
Leonardo
it's
DiCaprio, there will always be a 23-year-old for me, even in the afterlife.
I'm kind of seeing Ariel, so I'll catch you next time.
So yeah, it's almost sinking down. It's like, oh my God, the jet ski, what are we going to do? We can't get it up with this lift because the lift isn't strong enough for the jet ski. We're going to have to empty out the jet ski that's somehow filled with water.
Jason's like, we need a plan B. And I was like, damn, that jet ski had a fun time last night. So then
Johnny must have held it.
Jason's like,
baklava.
I would not mind that. So Jason's like, he's like, well, we need to drain the water first. Just give me the line. Okay, we got to do it. Hurry up, call the engineers, call Fritz and Bits. We'll get them down here because we need to get this thing on. So they somehow, these guys pulled this heavy ass jet ski onto one of those little floaty platforms.
Yeah, fucking Fritz and Bits. They're out there like, what do you need? What you need? We were taking a nap. They're like, Fritz and Bits, you have to do something today, okay?
Now was the time we haul up jet ski. So
Fritz is like, I have one question about this jet ski. When did Netflix start showing commercials? Like, Bits. Supposed to be concentrating on the boat.
Yeah, come on, hurry up, guys. Like, no, back when we used to work for Putin, boats, we just let them sink. It's like, well, we don't work for Putin anymore.
This is a big job. We need to call Spider. It's Bits, Spider. Come on, can we all work together here? It's going down water spout. Get it.
All right, Fritz and Bits are doing their little gag thing again. It's no time for laughter. There's a jet ski that's about to die. It's going to be a total loss.
I can't have my plug for the Captain's Lounge kimono line messed up by this jet ski. All right.
So then Laura's saying how I pride myself on professionalism and giving the guests the best experience. It's just a big shit show right now. So then they're still working on getting this thing up, and it's just crazy and it's scary. And then Johnny goes to his cabin to like shower because he's like exhausted because he basically just spent like an hour pushing heavy machinery through the ocean. So wow, that's a workout. Meanwhile, though, Vion's like having the time of his life. He's taking photos and just having a fun time.
Yeah, and he's like, fucking hell, girl, I've never worked on anything like that in my life. In my 9 years yachting. Harry, take a photo of me. It's like taking a picture like he's the hero of the day. He's the one who sent out that leaky ass thing and then did do the work to bring it back in. And poor Johnny's upstairs. Who's taking his picture? Nobody?
Yeah. No one is. He's like, we're going to laugh about this moment for years to come. It's like, yeah, what? When you went out on a jet ski and barely had to lift a finger while Johnny is the one who flopped over into the water and then had to push this thing and haul it up to onto a floaty.
Yeah, you're going to have a great story for the unemployment line, Vion.
So then Laura's talking to India and gives her a Pinot Grigio as consolation, which, by the way, I would nick my knee more often if it meant that I would just get a Pinot Grigio right in front of me. And then that was very Sex in the City of me to say, right? Well, if I knew I'd get a free Pinot Grigio, I'd nick my knee every single day.
I mean, if Pinot Grigio is what you get after like some kind of trauma, I mean, my family must be just in constant state of recovery. Jeez.
You're like, better check all the kneecaps of your family members for cuts.
How many corals have scraped you people? Jesus Christ.
Whoa, you know what? I love Pinot Grigio. So Zarina, meanwhile, is
talking to the coral scrape me, or did I scrape the coral? Okay, that's all I'm saying about it.
You know what? I'm sorry that you're dying in the ocean, but maybe next time try to live on the land, okay? Who lives in the ocean? I'm sorry. You deserve to get bleached.
So Serena is she's checking in on Viana. She's like, he's my favorite man in the whole wide world. Trust me, I know that you're upset. Give me a hug. Come to mama. Put your head right in my boobies. That's my boy.
I'm going to make you a soup that you eat with a fork. So then Marina's talks to him and says like, oh, so you guys are good outside? What's the deal? You seem stressed. He's like, yeah, we're good. He's giving her like the cold shoulder now because he's afraid that she's falling in love with him.
Yeah. And he's pint-sized and highly prized. And Serena, as he walks away, she's like, I love you. I love you. Oh, my God, lady. You're making me sad, Serena. Jesus. So Laura's saying, oh, we have to make this up to the charter guest. So basically tonight we're going all out. I was thinking tape and streamers.
I've got one. I can one up that for you. How about we get the candles out? Big candles. That's Jason's. That's literally what he says. We are going to go all out. We're going to put out big candles tomorrow. It's like, that's it. That'll do it.
Like, what about a red tablecloth? We could put a red tablecloth that could be draped on things. And it's like, wow, yes, welcome to the captain's lounge. What happens in the lounge stays in the lounge. Kimono line incoming.
Well, the guests have requested a bar hop, but there's not much bar hopping seen here at the Seychelles, so we're going to go set up the captain's lounge. You know, that's what the guests are going to get, especially when one of the guests was nearly killed on the jet ski today. The least I can do is show my furry chest in a kimono. Available now on kimono.captain.net.
Why are we acting like they're doing the guests a favor? The guests asked to go on a bar crawl, and instead you're making them drink in the living room.
Yeah, I know.
Take them to a bar.
Just let them go to at least a bar.
And not only that, I'm sorry,
yeah.
You're taking them to the living room, and you're making them like plug your new kimono line. Get the fuck out of here! I'd be pissed.
And they have to pretend like they enjoy seeing their captain like in a state of undress. I think it's awkward. So. Meanwhile, this discussion's happening while Marina, for some reason that we never quite understand, know, or can appreciate, Marina has decided to unfold a big ass table in the laundry room, and she's like rearranging it. And so we keep cutting to her, and she's like, this table's getting bigger and bigger, and then she's like holding it above, and it's like floating, and it's crashing into things, and it was very stressful. And I still don't really know why she was doing that.
Well, I thought she was just trying to move it out of the laundry room, but it was this huge table that she wasn't folding to move. I didn't really understand what was happening.
It's like I didn't understand any of it. I was like, this is just the form that her anxiety takes. She's like, no, Vihan's not talking to me, so must unfold tables to distract myself.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial. Okay, let's get to the part now that we've all been waiting for. The part where Vihan apologizes to Johnny for putting him in a dangerous situation by not listening to everybody and keeping that wave runner off the ocean. Just kidding. So Johnny comes in and Vihan's like, okay, boys, give us a debrief because a jet ski does not just capsize. I'm not on the jet ski. You're there. What happened? You sent out a leaking jet ski, bro.
Yeah, we all watched it. We saw it. And Johnny's like, well, the wave what overturned me, I was right behind her. The moment we get close to the shore, as we turn, she leaves the gas, and then immediately I feel sinking. So Vian's like, so all these things that happened, we learn from it. So you make mistakes, and you learn from the mistakes that you have made because they were fully all your mistakes.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I should have assessed the situation, but you need to put it in the water, and if water's coming in. And Johnny's like, yeah, remember when they put it in the water and then it came out and it had water coming out, and they said, no, that means there's a leak and there's water coming out. And he said, that's normal. Don't act like they didn't do this, gaslighter.
Yeah, exactly. And Johnny's like, well, I would have done it differently, but I'm not the ones making decisions, and I'm a good soldier. So then, meanwhile...
This ain't the war?
Yeah, it's jet skis. So Laura's asking Zarina what's for dinner, and Zarina's like, well, it's going to be local cuisine. They said on the thing they wanted chicken curry, so we're going to do a traditional one with lots of lovely, fun flavors. I'm going to have a little more strategy, and we do local cuisine, simple, beautiful, folks only. Hopefully no dishes come back this time around.
So Jason, Vion, do you want to come to the bridge? All right, so what happened? And Jason, I love Jason's just kind of bored with it all face. He's like, all right, mate, what happened? He's like, I saw everything. And he goes, so you saw it happen? He's like, yeah, I had a debrief with Johnny, and he was driving the jet ski, not Johnny. As they were turning, she took her hand off the throttle, and then the whole thing capsized. And Jason's like, I'm barely awake in this scene, mate, but that sounds fishy to me, so...
Yeah, Vion leaves out the part that, like, he started to feel the boat was sinking. AKA, there was water that was flooding in. Vion leaves that part out. He just makes it seem like Johnny was letting the guest drive, and that was irresponsible, right?
Right. So Vion's like, well, and his eyes are wide because he knows he's caught. He's like, well, this morning we lifted up and I see that the whole thing is full of water, and I drained it out and I put it in the water. And he's like, all right, well, let's not try to cover it up, and that's the slogan of my kimono line, don't really try to cover it up too much.
Let's open the kimono on this discussion. So, it's like accountability. Don't put the jet ski in the water if you think there's a leak in it. Okay, learn from it. And now I know our boundaries for next time. I'm like, boundaries? There's no boundary here. Just don't put expensive ass equipment that's leaking in the ocean. So if you don't feel like it's safe, we can fix it, or we don't do it. That's your job. And if there's a problem with the jet ski, let's get on top of it and fix it. Enough said. That's it. Boundaries, learn for next time. Kimono.
Yeah, do like we do on this boat. We do not want leaky crewmates on this boat, all right? That spreads. Or boundaries.
It's like I say, anytime anyone comes into the captain's lounge, if you don't feel it's safe, don't do it.
So he's like, yeah, this could have been a massive mistake. Could have had an injury. Could have had a loss. Could have had a death. Vion made a poor judgment call, and I know it's not going to happen again. I shall reward him by making somebody else wear the helmet of stupidity tonight. So, or otherwise, he better watch out. He better watch out. Oh, by the way, someone wrote us a message and said they heard on another podcast that the sous chef did leave for another job, but it didn't last long. So isn't that nice to know that little fucker probably got fired from that job?
I want more details.
Me too. Someone send them to us.
What happened? Yeah, give us all the deets. So then Zarina is sleepy, so Marina offers her a matcha, and she's like, I'm intolerant of caffeine, and by caffeine I mean you, so I can't have coffee or be around you, Marina. And she's like, well, I can see if there's green juice, and Zarina's just like angry, doesn't even want to have like a green juice, doesn't want anything to do with Marina, basically. So
yeah, she looks at her and continues to drink the Pine Sol or whatever she's drinking. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks scary. And so Marina's like, okay, awkward. Now it's second day of charter, and Laura has so much to do. She's like, oh, and by the way, Vion, I've heard a rumor that someone's a world-class stripper. So in the captain's lounge, you're going to strip.
Laura is going to have these guys come out shirtless every single episode if she can have it. Laura's like, I'm perfectly happy being alone. I just want to live in my country home with my dogs. I'm totally fine. I'm not horny at all. I'm definitely not horny. Okay, gentlemen, take your shirts off again. Thank you so much.
And until I go into self-imposed quarantine, I'm going to see as much penis as I can. So let's get this rolling, shall we?
Shirts are off, thank you. So yeah, she's basically asking Vion to be a stripper in the captain's lounge. I support it. And then Marina is done with laundry. So Harry and Vion start talking about Marina. And Vion's like, I've got a difficult situation on my hands. My kiss to Zarina, I mean, that was just fun. And I didn't mean for someone to fall in love with me. And maybe I shouldn't have kissed Marina. Oh, no. There's the standard, fuck boy thing of like, I was just having fun, but she's taking it so seriously. She's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, hopefully there's not someone named Tina lined up, because anyone with that kind of rhyme, they love me. They just love me, man. And Harry's like,
tell us about it.
So what are you going to do now? And he's like, I don't know. Actually, I'm so confused. I haven't even given attention to anyone except for gone on a date with that girl and, flirted with Serena every 5 minutes, But if anything, I've given attention to fucking Adair. I mean, girls, when you kiss them, they might feel a little bit a certain way. You know what I mean? And Harry's like, that's what happens when you're so good looking.
And I like that when he says, if anyone, the only one I've given attention to for real has been Adair. And they show a clip of him saying like, hey, I'm coming.
He's like, hi,
not-
y'all. He's like trying to flirt with her, and she just gives him a look like, ew.
So Lara is working on the party and everything, and Zarina is working on dinner. And Zarina's like, "So you guys gonna take it a bit, a bit easy
Cash.
now, like cash now? You about to go to the next spaces?" And because she's talking to Brianna, and Brianna's like, "I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm not one to initiate things, but like, I'm just like waiting, and because she's essentially waiting for Harry to make some moves on her more than just like a random kiss here or there. But then Harry walks by and overhears everything, and he's like, "What's going on over here?"
They're cracking up. They're like, oh my God, a boy heard us talking about him. She's like, we're just eating strawberry colored chocolates. Like, ooh, I'm not listening. It's great. I can't hear a single word. So weird. And also, why does this girl need to have a discussion about every single thing? I think he's clear about liking you and making out with you every time he sees you. She's like, I'm just getting such mixed signals from Harry. It's just so crazy. I'm like, what part of waking up every morning, staring into your eyes and kissing you and saying, I hope we can do this forever. Don't you understand? He loves you. But I think she just wants more spice in the relationship. And
I think she wants more like flirtation, maybe. Like they don't have to be making out all the time, but like something more flirty than Harry just coming by being like, do you guys want to see me juggle? So
all right, I've got a string, it's tied in a circle, I'm going to put it in my fingers and make different shapes, and you're going to put your hand through, and then I'm going to magically make the string back into a circle. Anybody down? She's like, oh God.
So Laura is asking Beyond for some help with the dinner service tonight, and the deckies are changing into strippers, and the guests are all sitting down for dinner, and so now we're going to finally get our chicken curry bonanza and some, by the way, beautiful looking fish. I thought those pieces of fish that went up to the table, those fillets or whatever they were, looked gorgeous. And
I'm sorry,
really
but we're not at
one.
the fillets yet. Right now, we're
I know. I just felt like I was going to forget it if I waited too long. I wanted to give the fish credit.
Like, I will get this fillet comment no matter when it is.
Fillets
It's like the
getting in
Southern
there.
Hospitality recap. You're like, oh yeah, by the way, just wanted to say those fillets. Amazing. They did look good. Those were
gorgeous.
nice big fillets. They weren't skimping on the
huge.
fillets.
They were huge.
Yeah.
So Marina's cleaning down the cabins, and she's like, oh, this is too much for me to do right now. Too much, because the cabins are a mess. Who are these people that do this every single episode? When I go to a hotel, like my clothing is fairly contained, like I'm not someone who just like lets it sprawl everywhere. Or if I do, it's kind of like I've set it out because I'm going to wear it later. But like, who are these people that just like throw their clothing all across their room?
It's starting to feel malicious, I have to say. I would agree. Normally I'm like, well, you're staying in a hotel room. If it's dirty, that's your job to clean it. But these ladies are like overly rude about it. It's almost like they're taking everything out of their suitcase and throwing it to different parts of the room on purpose. Like there's shit hanging off lamps. There's like, how do you do this? What do you do?
And like sand everywhere. And like, they're such nice ladies too. Like it's not like
they are.
They're like really, really nice. And so, but you just sort of feel like they're like really nice, and they get in their room and they're they like let out they're like, whatever complaints I have about this charter, I'm going to express it by throwing 5 bathing suits across the room.
Yeah, it's super weird.
But it's not just
sure
them.
what's happening.
It's all these charters are like this. And I just don't understand it.
No, this one's particularly bad. For whatever reason, whenever they show the room, it's like, Jesus, what are you guys doing in this room? It's like a poltergeist went in there, went crazy, got mad about it.
I know.
So Marina is getting completely ignored by her man. So she's in a really bad mood. So she's like, oh, this is too much. I need help with the cabins. So they're sending Adair, and Marina just keeps repeating as she sees the dirty room. She's like, I love my job. I love my job. So she tells Adair what to do, and Adair goes, Heard! Adair sounds like some kind of a bird. Just when birds aren't really calling, they're just like, I'm here. She's just like, ah!
Congratulations, you just set me off on a tangent because I just read this crazy article in the New York Times about these two women who lived next door to each other in New York City, and they were friends, but then one of them got a parrot, and the parrot, she already had two little parrots, and then she got like a cockatoo or something like that, or a cockatiel, and the cockatiel every day would go like this. And then the noise of the cockatiel would activate the parrots. So the parrots would be like, so it's always like, and it was every day and it was all day long. And it was so loud that the woman who didn't have the parrots was recording it. And so they put the recording on the New York Times. So I listened to it. That's how I know exactly how it sounded like. And it became a legal battle that lasted 15 years. And they went at each other. It was crazy.
I can see that happening because, when I moved back to LA, I get this house. I'm so excited. I put all this remodeling and, it's like months and months of construction and jackhammering and this and that. So I finally get up to the house and I'm in there the first night and it's just silence. And I can hear the birds, like tweet, tweet, tweet. I can hear like nature. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. I can't believe that this is happening in LA. And then I just hear, I was like, what the fuck? So I thought it was an aberration. I didn't worry about it. So I just, relax again. And then I hear it. And I look and the neighbors have a fucking parrot and it's sitting right in, they have two and they're sitting right in the kitchen window. And that shit never stopped. Thank God they moved because I was to the point, I was like, how do I kill those birds?
Yeah, this article was crazy because basically the woman who did the non-parrot woman, she worked from home. She was a PR person, and so she couldn't have phone calls because the birds were so loud. And then everyone started, but then the girl who had the parrots, she was like, "They're my service animals. I have anxiety, and the parrots relax me." Even though the parrots all day long are like, "Ah!"
I can only be calm by causing the rest of the world anxiety. Go fuck yourself with your anxiety if that's what it is.
And then it became a
shove
thing.
Those birds down your throat. We'll see how anxious you are then.
And then the co-op forced her out, but then she wound up getting like it was like some bureau. It was like some bureau that was like tenants' rights or whatever took her case, or like it became a thing like because she was kicked out and she had a service animal. And then the whole thing got escalated to like $1 million controversy, and the woman who did not have the parrots, her life is like ruined because she now has anxiety about it, and she stopped having friends because she was like mortified of, I don't know, it was a fascinating article. And the
God, we went really
you're the one who has
dark,
the birds.
So she ended up getting anxiety herself, and then the only cure was birds. So she had to get parrots herself, and then it was just like a cycle that never stopped, and she never. I mean, for me, I was just like, birds, learn some fucking language. Like, have you heard of evolution? Like, parrot something, Like, even if the birds were like, Polly want a cracker, or like, fuck you, John, or whatever the birds hear, do that. But just two parrots sitting next door, just going. Meh. I mean, it wasn't okay. And you see how I am? I only dealt with this for like a couple of months. If I was that girl, there would have been at the very least, some BB gun action.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like at first I thought, okay, oh, wow. So now like 15 years later, oh, she has anxiety or whatever. But then they show a picture of her. You see a picture of her when she's younger, when she was like friends with the person. And then you see her when she's older. You're like, oh, yeah, this is a woman who's been through some shit. She's been through parrot trauma.
Yeah, they have a whole show on one of the murder networks, the networks that are like all dedicated to murder shows. And they come up with like random things for murder. They're like, ladies who knit getting murdered. And that's like the whole show. Every episode is like a lady who knits who got murdered. But this one is about your neighbors going crazy. It's like neighbor fights. And then it escalates to the point where a neighbor kills their neighbor. And they're all and I'm sure that there's like a parrot story in there. There has to be a parrot story.
Oh, I'm sure. Parrots must have led to so many murders. Now, I like the wild parrots that fly around LA. I mean, they squawk, they make so much noise, but they're so cute flying around. But that's because they fly and then they go somewhere else. But like if there was one directly next door or like across the street in the window, I would have lost my mind as well. Yeah. I get it. All
right. So back to this. Marina's miserable, which somehow led to this.
Yes.
So then Serena sends up her fish, which are fabulous fillets.
Fabulous sea bass, approved. We give it 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. And it has a passion fruit sauce, and they love it. And then they're like, but do I have to eat this with a spoon? This is weird. Do you have it?
And then they're like, guys, Tina's a colonel. You act like you were trained at West Point. I will say that. And Tina's like, well, I think I was conceived at West Point. And then the sea bass is continuing to arrive, and the passion fruit sauce is continuing to dazzle the guests. They love the passion fruit sauce. And everyone's happy. And then Adair is like, well, all the beds are turned down, and I'm not doing the bathrooms, so she can do the bathrooms herself. So she basically decides, I'm going to have dinner. And she walks out.
Yeah. Oh, so weird. And so Marina's like, are you there? She's radioing her, Adair, are you there? And she's like, what's up? And she's like, I mean, are you still helping? Hey, Laura, is she still helping me with the cabins? And she's like, she should be. And so Adair's just like, on my way. So she's like, what happened to you? And she goes, what do you mean? She goes, well, you just did the bed and left. And she's like, I mean, I went to the rooms and turned down the beds, and then I've been running plates. I mean, what do you want from me? I'm just one sun hat.
Yeah, so Adair's like, yeah, I really don't know what they do in the rooms. I mean, I'm being pulled in so many different directions, always like this, boom, 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 this, that. I'm like a pinball around this boat. But I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of cleaning someone's shit toilet. I'm not doing that. I'm like, so basically you admitted you did as much as you wanted to do, and then you went off and ate food. Yeah. Because we saw her eating food. She was not running plates.
Yeah, she's running plates to her mouth. So now the boys are changing into stripper outfits, and we get Vihan's story. He's like, I do enjoy performing. I was a shirtless waiter at Beefcakes. It's a gay bar, usually around 9 o'clock. And then we get the visual of the clock turning to 9 for some reason. He's like, we take off our shirt and we do body shots on us right here. Shot glass from chest to penis.
Human shot glass. I feel like they don't do shots off their chest in WeHo. I feel like they just come around selling shots, but you don't actually get to do body shots off their chests, right?
Oh, yeah.
You really? Oh.
You just have to be careful what bar you're at, because, some of those bars, like some of them you just don't want a shot. Like, you wouldn't ask for that at like Foo Bar. Not that that's around anymore, but back in the day, no one wants a shot from a place that smells like bleach and socks.
You will need a shot afterwards, and not the one that goes down your throat.
They offer free shots on the way out.
So Zarina wants people to come bring her cake up. She's made a coconut cake, which looks nice. And then Laura's asking Marina how everything's going. And Marina's like, terrible, just terrible. Rooms are terrible. Sand is terrible. Adair is terrible. Adair dropped me like midway when I asked her. And like, can you help me with things? And she's like, no, I'll only do bed. I can only do bed. That's all. And Laura's like, oh, babe, I'm sorry. I have very little sympathy for you because you were supposed to be doing a job anyway, but okay, fine. But either way, Laura's mad.
I've never had a junior crew member pick and choose what jobs they want to do. Like, this is your job. You do what your superior tells you to do, and that's it. Now, I can't wait to not say anything to her about it.
I know, right?
Laura's the biggest, talker into the camera to us, but she doesn't really do anything with everybody else. She's just like, I'll tattletale Jason about it.
So Jason, speaking of which, comes out in his kimono at the captain's lounge, they're gonna go set that up and everything. And Laura tells the guests, hey everyone, I've just gotten a phone call from Captain, and they've given you exclusive access to the captain's lounge. Would you like to go to it? And they're like, woo! So they go in there, and they're like, he's there in his kimono and he's all stretched out, and they're like, whoa! And it's funny, and everyone's like laughing and stuff.
But I'm with you on this. I don't need that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I walked in and the captain was like in a kimono, that's a tiny little kimono too, Yeah. It was like a White Lotus kimono where you're waiting for his wiener to just pop out like that dude from White Lotus. Like, keep that inside, Maybe if it's boner time. I mean, he's a cute guy. It's not like he's Jabba the Hutt or anything. He's cute. But I don't know. It's like, maybe if it's boner time, but not right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird timing to just walk in and see him just laying there in his kimono.
Yeah, I agree. So then Vihan comes out and does his little striptease and everything. And Marina's like, oh, I want to kiss this freaking gorgeous man. Throw him on the wall. Let's kiss a little bit and go back to work. We had such a good date, but then he disappeared. What's the deal? Men.
Commercials. Here comes one right now.
So Jason says the captain's lounge, very exclusive, VIP only. It's where you get to relax, put your feet up, and you never know who might stop by.
You literally know exactly who's going to stop by. It can only be people from the boat.
I'm going to stop by with a pair of pajama pants for you.
Please stop by with some Haagen-Dazs too while you're at it.
So
They told me, by the way, the captain's lounge is just some pints of Haagen-Dazs and Jenny's ice cream.
My man,
I'd be like,
wear whatever you want.
kimono, no kimono, sweats, wear whatever. Just get me that ice cream.
Yeah. So Marina is in love. She's like, I want to kiss this gorgeous man, throw him on the wall. We kiss, we go back to work, such a good date, but then he disappeared. What's the deal? What's the deal with that? Beefcakes are supposed to be trustworthy men. So they're all going on about the captain's lounge and stuff. And the strip dance, what's his buns did, I didn't mind that. So what is it?
No.
Why didn't I mind that?
Yeah, I didn't mind that. Did not mind that at all. It was a nice visual. So now everyone, the guests go to bed, and Adair is talking to, she's like, wow, I felt like, hey, Vian, I felt like I was watching the intro to a porno with you. Okay, good night. I'm going to bed before my head explodes. Hope your head doesn't explode. He's like, you don't even understand the depth of what that means for me right now. All right, good night. Good night. He's like,
so he's sitting there now. She leaves and he's just sitting there now with what's her buns, Marina, and she's looking at her phone and he's just looking at his watch. He's like, okay, well, gotta go then. Good night. And she's like, bye. So then Harry checks in with Bree and we have a really romantic moment. He's like, are you done? Are you going to bed now? And she's like, yeah, are you done? He's like, sleep well. Well, I filled your water bottle up and I put it in the crew mess somewhere. What do you think about that? He's like, thank you. Good night. She's like, oh, damn it. I don't like being the one to make the first move with a water bottle and just having it ignored.
You know, I'm very happy that my love life is sorted. About time. I mean, Brie and I are in a great spot. We're both on the same page. She gets a little kiss on the cheek every 3 days. And, you know, it's just us. You know, we just go at our own pace. And she's like, I'm horny. Do me.
She's like, I want to know where Harry stands. I mean, we go on a date, but we don't discuss anything. I mean, does he even know my parents owned an ice cream shop? Does he know I used to date a model and I almost settled down in New Jersey? What does he know?
So then it's the final day. It's the next morning. And Beyond's flirting with Adair by saying, your boots are the best. She's like, yeah, man.
You stepping on fucking have the cheek done in these Johns in a minute. It's fucking funny. You want to take a closer look?
He's like, no, I saw it. Lovely boots. She's like, boot in the face. He's like, all right. So Johnny's like, shall we do the lines? And Beyond's like, I am so in love with Adair. How am I going to tell her that? He's like, well, it's something you have to figure out. At which point Johnny says, for me, I always try to avoid sexual relationship while being on boat because boatmances can create turbulence and ruin peace. I'm more likely to paint my hair pink rather than have a boatman's. Could you imagine? Pink hair Johnny would be banned from Greece. Ridiculous. Pink hair. Think about it. Pink hair.
I love that he has no patience for Vion. He tells him, that is something you should figure out yourself. Like, don't talk to me about it. I want to hear about this. And poor Vion's like, but listen to Adair. Her voice, it's like poetry. I love boobs. Boobs are great. You want two-step?
So now Jason and Laura's talking to Jason about Adair. She's like, last night she was meant to be in the cabins helping, but then she kept disappearing and Marina asked to come help her, but like she said, well, I've done the beds and that's all I do. But I'm kind of like, why are you going to Jason about this instead of talking to Adair about it first, right?
Yeah,
I feel like this does not
saying.
need to be escalated.
Like she always goes to tattle to Jason instead of taking care of her own shit. It's bizarre. Yeah. So he's like, well, I guess I'm part of this now. What's Adair up to now? Someone's going to go. Should I send him now? Should I send him later? So you need to tell her to be inside. So Vion comes in and he's like, where is she? What's Adair up to? And he's like, oh, she just came outside. He's like, well, have you told her to be inside? All right. I need communication on this boat.
So then Laura says the whole thing again about the cabins, and Jason's like, all right, well, deck suits are always a grey area. It's sort of like when you wear a kimono, but you're also hanging out with the guests. But I think that she's picking and choosing her jobs, and no one changes their department unless you two authorize it. So communication with you guys has to be like this. Okay, go and fix it. I don't know why you bothered me with this, but go ahead. Go ahead.
So as Vion leaves, he's like, this fucking annoys me so much. Which this one I can imagine why, because but how's he supposed to know the girl's not making the bed or cleaning the toilets, whatever? Like,
but that being said, why is it that every time there is a deck stew, the bosun always acts like the deck stew belongs to their department? Like they always are like, oh, well, I guess we'll loan you the deck stew to help out on the interior. So he has no like right to feel entitled to Adair. Adair belongs to both departments.
Well, he's not saying has the only right to Adair, is he?
I know he's not saying that, but his vibe is like that, if you ask me.
I just think he's
just
like,
just a general
lady
note.
always giving me shit. Like, geez, can't even do anything right, which is not incorrect. So Laura radios and she's like, Vion, can we have Adair help with the guest cabins, please? And he's like, oh, God. And Adair was like, that's annoying. And he's like, all right, well, can we start her on the deck and then move her to interior? And she's like, okay. So now Marina is working on the cabins, and then Lara, Bree, and Serena are dancing. Like, yeah.
And the guests are sad. It's their last day and everything. And now it's time to lift the anchors and everything. So anchors are gonna go up. And then now they're also going to have to now rearrange their cabins because the new sous chef will be arriving, and she's a girl, which means that there's going to be another shuffling around of people. So Johnny's going to have to move in. Now, last week, I saw the CV and I saw that the new sous chef was named Alicia. And I just jumped to conclusions that it was the same Alicia from Below Deck Sailing. And I received a few messages that said, actually, Below Deck Sailing Alicia, her name is spelled differently. And also, she's a different person than the Alicia that does wind up
spelled like
coming.
I-L.
Yes. So I messed up. I failed. I failed as a podcaster. And
I'm just waiting for an apology. So
I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize for putting my leaky theory out into the water. It's not safe.
You're leaky, Lisa. So somebody new is coming, and I did not know any of this information you just gave me, so I thought it was going to be the other Alicia. And I was like, her hair looks great. So they're doing the cabin swap and all that good stuff. And Adair's like, oh, we got a lot of money today. And Marina's like, okay, since we're here, listen, the bed, amazing. You're doing a great job. But just make sure the towels are clean. There's clean floors. We need more. And she's like, well, I wasn't meaning to leave you yesterday. It's just like sometimes I do the needs and then I get dragged off. There's like food to eat. There's drinks to drinks.
Yeah, sometimes I just get dragged off by myself, dragging myself off to doing something more fun. That's it. So they're like, okay, it's fine. So then now Adair has to go back out on the deck. Life of a deck stew. And now it's time to come in to dock. We're going to dock. It's going to be scary. It's going to be whatever. And then Harry is talking to Adair, and he's like, what are those? I guess he's talking about fake boobs. I don't remember this.
They're like gel cutlets, I think.
Oh yeah. He's got like a bag of like the chicken cutlets.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, these fake boobs. And Adair's like, they're boobs.
Yeah, she's like, they're boobs. And poor Bree is like, oh my God, those boobs are getting more from Harry than me. I just need to have a talk about it.
So the guests say goodbye. They give a nice little speech. Like, we had the best time ever. We're just so excited to go to our hotel now and leave our clothes on every single surface. So they go and they're happy. They're a lovely crew, lovely set of guests, charter group. And now it's time to change into your blues and clean the boat and turn it over and get ready for a tip meeting.
All right. First, we got to talk about the helmet of death. We're getting $15,000, so that's great, everybody, for 48 hours. Not bad. All right, the helmet of death is going to I'm just kidding, because we worked at Beefcakes. I respect the game. Please be one of my models for Captain's Lounge. The one going under the bus is Johnny, who saved a woman's life and dragged her back after her leg was almost delegated by a coral.
Delegated. So, by the way, we have...
Decapitated by a coral. Man's greatest enemy, the great coral reef. Thankfully, we've almost killed the thing, everybody. So for a few more super yacht trips right over it, we should have it dead in no time.
All right, we have a sous chef coming in this afternoon. She's a she, so would like to accept any volunteers from the deck crew to make some awkward and unpleasant advances on her who would like to volunteer as tribute. All right, Johnny, great. We'll see you later tonight at the bar.
Listen, it's been a while. It's been a couple of months since a Below Deck franchise has had sexual complaints. Sexual abuse, harassment complaints. So I think we need to get that taken care of tonight. Get on it, Disco Head.
So then Laura and Zarina are talking, and Zarina's talking about how it's like you can't just like shut off a crush. And Laura's like, I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, if a guy likes you, he will never make you doubt that. And that's what you need. You need someone, you don't need to settle for anything else just because someone's here. And Zarina's like, or alternatively, I could settle for the guy who basically doesn't like me, and I'll just keep lowering my bar for him. I think that sounds like a good game plan for me.
Yeah, Serena's like, what's wrong with settling? Without settlings, we wouldn't have countries, would we? You know, we'd just be traveling all the time, you know? Someone's got to settle.
That's right. So then they're saying that they hope the new sous chef is nice, etc. And then Harry and is talking to Marina, and he's like, "Are you off of Vian? What's going on?" And she's like, "No, I'd like to get with him again, but he's a cool guy, but like we don't talk, like not a word for 3 days."
He's like, "But I didn't talk to Brie for 3 days, and look how happy she is."
It's her pulling out her hair, looking at pictures of her old fiance, being like, "Right, mistake.
I should have given him a chance." Got to her at the window, mascara running down her face. Talk to me.
So Zarina is excited for the sous chef. She's like, I love a fresh start. I think it's going to be great. It's time for some girl power in the galley. Please don't be like Anthony. Please don't be like Anthony. Please enjoy only using forks. So then in comes Alicia. She comes on. She's blonde. She's perky. She's sweet. She's nice. She's pretty. So she's going to have all these guys doing gross things to her.
She's baby Caroline Stanbury face. Oh, it's crazy. That's all I could see once I saw it. I was like, wow, it's Caroline Stanbury. So she meets everybody and we find out a little bit about her. She's like, I first got into yachting as a chief stew. Sorry. I love food. I like the smell. I love the color, but like I'm starting green, to be honest, you know, like I'm going to wing it, but hopefully it'll work out. I didn't even know where the seashells was. Why would you build a town on a seashell? I mean, how do you make streets? Is everything on wheels? Just goes back and forth. Idiotic.
And she said the seashells. I mean, but actually, can you believe it? That's an actual seashell in the middle of the ocean that they turned into a resort. I didn't know there was a fish that big. So, then Harry tells Vian that he's in the doghouse with Marina because he hasn't spoken to her. And Vian's like, oh no. So then Alicia's going down. She's meeting everyone. And Sarina's so excited. She's like, I feel like I've got a firecracker coming into my galley. I love the positive energy. I love her attitude. I can't wait to make her do dishes all day long.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see what she serves spoons with. Just instinctually in what she doesn't. This is going to be great for science. So they all go out and they're having dinner and everyone's in a great mood because they've got a new person, which means the guys are just going to ask stupid questions now. And Vian even goes so far as to whip out pictures of children because that's like the most desperate move. When a guy's like, oh, let me show you my niece and nephews. I'm like, oh.
Oh, great. So he's like, what is your favorite cuisine to cook? And she's like, Thai food. It's where you basically take a necktie and you put it into a stew. Delicious. They're like, oh, that sounds wonderful. So they're all excited that she's into Thai food. And then, they are.
What's your favorite color? What's your hair color? How old are you? What year were you from? And she goes, I'm 25. And Johnny goes, 98. Like, yeah, look at me. Mathing it up. She's like, actually 99. So.
Yeah. And she's like, well, you look so much older, Johnny. He's like, thank you. So then Vian is talking. Yeah, he's talking to Adair and he's showing the pictures of the nephews and everything. And she's like, cool. And then he's like, here's another child. Does this give me dimension? She's like, cool. Here's another child. What about this one? Okay. She's totally like unfazed by him.
The guys are trying really, really hard. Do you play Candy Crush? I'm really good at Candy Crush. Look at my score. Johnny's like, I went to prom one time. Look at me dance. Calm down.
Johnny's like, look, I got Wordle in 5 tries. New record for me. They're like, oh, that's great, Johnny. So, so then Bree and Lauren and Zarina go to the bathroom, and Zarina's like, tonight is the night of Vian. They're like, but Vian likes to be approached. You should try that, And she's like, well, should I give him a rose in front of everyone? I feel like the more normal we talk, the more talking is normal, right? It's like, that's very Sondheim sounding of her. Sure, go for it.
So she does. She comes and she walks right up to him and she gives him a rose, and then she grabs his head and he like puts his head in her chest. He's like, oh yeah, and he hugs her close. But then to us, he's going, oh fuck, my heart is with the deer. Well then, why are you acting like that?
Why did you do that? Why do you like? It's like these guys. It's like you don't have to do these things. You don't have to like. You can just take the rose. You don't have to pull her in and then nuzzle onto her boobs. So then he's like, oh, but obviously this is not going away. So I need to first solve this problem before I can move on here. So then they go off to the club, and
surely if I just lap dance on her face, maybe she'll get the right impression.
Yeah. So then he to his credit. Unlike someone like a Carl or whatever. Well, it's going to be half credit because I'm revoking half of the credit in a moment. But to his credit, he goes to Zarina and Marina, and he basically gives them both a spiel of like, I just want to say that our dates were it's absolutely amazing to me, but I have like, you have to be honest with you, I have feelings for Adair, and I cannot be in love with everyone, which is such a strange way of putting it. Like, unfortunately, we only have a few slots available for me to be in love with, and those spots have been taken. We do appreciate your application, and we wish you the best of luck in future love endeavors.
Yeah, but then to Serena, it looks like he's saying the same thing, but it's not exactly the same thing. To her, he says, you're such a cool girl. Honestly, I cannot be in love with everyone. I think you're an amazing person. You're fucking amazing. She's like, I know. So did he break up with Serena too?
I think he did. I think they were just cutting it back and forth to show that he really was on kind of a personal script. So,
so he said, I have feelings for Adair to Serena.
I think he did. Okay. I think that was the implication.
Because yikes.
So I gave him credit for a moment here for being
that's what I was trying to figure out your half credit.
No, my half credit's coming in the moment because So now Zarina, because Zarina goes up to Laura and goes, well, he's in love with Adair. So then Johnny.
Oh, yeah, I didn't catch that part. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So then Johnny's dancing with Alicia, and they're like dancing a lot and having lots of fun, and he's drunk, and then he tries to go in for a kiss. Well, he says something like, he's like, you have awoken something inside of me that has not been awoken in so many hours.
It scares me.
Okay.
It scares me. You have awakened a beast. I saved a woman's life today.
I'm like, sir, it's been 2 hours, and it's been like 2 hours, and it's been all group setting too. And so he goes in for a kiss, and she basically puts the hand out and was like, no. Although actually, I mean, she's definitely attracted to him, but she's also like, I may be attracted to you, but I also have some personal standards. So let's wait more than 5 seconds.
Yeah, she's like, Johnny, darling, I've literally met you for 5 seconds, please. He's like, but our beast has awakened. It's a little boner. Put it away, please. Just put it in your waistband like you do the rest of the days on this boat. I've just come here, all right? I shall not be given away in the first 5 minutes. Because that's what the guys try and do. They're like, oh, new girl, who can get her first? Jumper!
And she's like, every single time I look into his eyes, I'm like, he's a gorgeous man, but I don't know him. It's just too much too soon. We'll see. So then, and of course everyone watched this happen, like Bree and Laura watched, and Bree's like, did he just kiss her? And I was like, no, he tried. She goes, oh, I'm so jealous. I wish Harry would try that. So Harry's like, that's what I was fearing when I kissed Bree for the first time. But guess who bagged a model? Guess who's dating a model? Who is dating a model? She's a model.
So then Serena, who's just been dumped, even though she wasn't in a relationship with this guy, but she was just told not interested, goes up to Vian and takes his shirt, and she's like, you come into the van with me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So he does.
Yeah. So then in the van, so Zarina's like Johnny, are you in love? And he's like, no, not in love. That's a heavy word to use, first of all. I am just full of boner. Found her very attractive. We vibe together, that's all. And
So in the other car, they're gossiping, and Laura's like, did Vion have a conversation with you tonight? And Harry's like, tell me. And Marina's like, well, Vion broke up with me today, okay? Well, not kidding. I mean, I'm kidding. But he said that he liked somebody and he wanted to pursue that. And Laura's like, oh, it's Adair. He's in love with Adair. But the thing is, Adair doesn't even know about it. And so they're cracking up. And Bree's just like, yeah, I feel like Adair's just Adair.
So then they go back on the boat, and Harry, Bree's showing Harry the sand in the cabins, and then Zarina's talking to Vion, and she's like, "Are you naked?" And he's like, "No." She's like, "Are you coming up?" And he's like wearing these like teeny tiny bungee smugglers, like tiny. So she's like, "Oh," like she is horned up like crazy. I mean, can't blame her. Those are real tight.
It's like, do you enjoy torturing me? Is that something that you like to do? And he's like, oh, I should take a shower. And she's like, oh, God, fine. You're leaving footprints everywhere, mister. Oh, little does he know I love footprints. Oh, I hate you. I hate strong men. Jeez.
So then,
and then she grabs him and starts like making out with him in the hallway, right?
That was at the end of the episode, yeah. So then Harry, meanwhile, is like, all right, time for me to make my big move. So, actually, maybe it did happen because Harry goes, I think this is, we may have skipped over it, but Harry brings Bree into the guest cabin, and it looks like they're going to like spend the night. That's usually when it's off charter and you go into the guest cabin, that means you're gonna do it. So he's in there with Bree in the guest cabin, and then they like kiss, and then he's like, well, we got a lot of work to do tomorrow, so I guess we should probably go to sleep.
Well, no,
so
because the sheets aren't on the bed. She's like, oh, we already took the sheets off the bed. So he's like, all right, well, what should we do now? And she's like, I don't know. I would hate for you to have to make a bed. I mean, Jesus Christ, this is not the man you want to end up with. He's like, well, no sheets on the bed. Guess I can't do anything on the bed. What would we do? Put sheets on it? Yeah, have the man make the bed if he wants a little, but he doesn't. And she's like, I mean, yes. I wish we could cuddle and watch a movie. And he's like, we have so much work to do tomorrow, though, don't we?
And then this is where then Zarina and Vion have this moment where they're kind of like kissing, jokey, and then kissing for real. And then it looks like they're really
she grabs him and pulls him off camera and starts making out with him. And he's like, okay. And she's like, that's when she's like, I hate you. I hate strong men. Oh, he just dumped you.
Yeah. And then the other thing, but this is where this is the half credit. This is where he deducted. Because Vion is so that sort of guy that's like, okay, I'm going to break up with you all because that's the mature thing to do. And then now that he has established a boundary that he's not into you, he will then come and make out with you. And then when you're like, well, we're making out, he'll be like, yeah, but I already told you I'm not into you. That was just for fun. You're being crazy right now. So that's why he lost credit with me, because it was like his whole like.
Serena also loses credit with me. Like, get some self-respect. The man just dumped you, and she's like, "Oh, come here! Oh God, gotta have you come here off camera! Oh God, you're such a strong man! Like, oh girl, get a hold of yourself. It's embarrassing. That man's just to be used by all. You know what I mean? Like, you don't go to the grocery store and just take home the little dispenser in front that gives everybody the antibacterial soap. That's for everybody."
Mm-hmm. So they make out. It was actually exactly in the place that you said it happened. I was wrong. And then Harry goes into his cabin and he is like, you guys, I just had the best makeout session ever. Like, I kissed her on the lips for about 3 seconds. No tongue, but like, we're working towards it. It was just so good.
I mean, she wanted to cuddle up and watch a movie. Too soon for that. Am I right?
Too soon for halfway to first base.
Well, the whore of Babylon. I'm not doing that yet. And then it cuts to Brie, who's all frustrated getting into bed. She's like, oh God, this man can't make a move to save his life. And she says, if he doesn't do something quick, this is going to fizzle out.
Yeah, it's going to probably fizzle out.
That's the end of that one.
That was the episode. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We'll be back with some Beverly Hills and other great shows later this week. So we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Our way is the Amber way.
It's the Foster and the Furious. It's Amanda Foster.
It's always automatic with Ashley Auto.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Catherine DiBernardo has our hardo.
Get on the right foot with Chrissy Offit.
Dana C. Dana Do. She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Etchels.
We never miss her call. It's Diane Call.
Erin McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. Jamie, she has no last namey. You'll never hide from Heidi Eleanor Jones.
I go, you go, we all go for Hugo.
Hava Nagila Weber.
We could all learn from Jennifer Kearns.
She's our kind of mess. It's Jennifer Messer.
Sipped some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
Knock, knock, knocking on Katie Manock's door.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson.
Get a bee in your bonnet with Lacey B.
Bringing the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
She gets an A from us. It's Lindsay D.
Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino.
Fresh as a daisy, it's Maisie McHenry.
We love her on the rocks. It's Melissa Cox.
Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
This is Livin' with Michelle Vivian.
I love ya, Olivia Williamson. Tastier than Flanderson, it's Rachel Manderson.
She sure is swell. It's Raquel.
Yes, we canna, it's Savannah.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman.
Let's share with Sharon Eldridge.
The Bay Area Betches. Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
She's VVIP, it's Amanda V. Can't lose when you're with Amy Baldwin.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
She's got a leg up. It's Beth Annie.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Who, what, why, where, and Gwen Pentland.
It's our queen. It's Queen Laifah.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall.
Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
We got our wish, it's Jen Plish.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo.
She gets an A, it's Kelly B.
We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
We're ride or die for Lisa Ryder Barron.
She's a whiz, it's Liz Sarthy.
Always killing it, it's Lola Alkalani.
The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
She eases our woes. It's Melissa St. Rose.
Give him hell, Miss Noel.
She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Couture. We love you guys.